The first thing that hits you about Mongolia isn't a building, a skyline, or even a smell. It's the silence. Not the uncomfortable kind, but the deep, ancient silence of a place that's never tried to drown itself out. The air feels thinner, cleaner, almost weightless. You look around and realize you can see for miles. No billboards, no traffic, just sky. More sky than you've probably ever seen in your life. Most trips to Mongolia begin in Ulaanbaatar, a city that seems to exist in 2 centuries at once. Soviet-era blocks stand shoulder to shoulder with glass skyscrapers. Monks in crimson robes walk past teenagers blasting K-pop from Bluetooth speakers. You can sip artisan coffee in a hip cafe, then step outside and watch a horse-drawn cart trot past. It's a strange, chaotic, charming collision of old and new. But Ulaanbaatar isn't the story, it's the prologue. The real Mongolia begins the moment you leave it behind. Head east, and the city slowly melts into endless grasslands. The steppe. There's no neat line where civilization ends. It just frays until it's gone. The highway becomes a dirt road, then a pair of tire tracks, then nothing but grass. And suddenly, you're in a place where the horizon is your compass and the sky your map. This is the landscape that shaped the Mongol Empire. Wide, wild, and unforgiving. Our first stop is Turelj National Park, a few hours from the capital, but a world away in every other sense. Pine forests and rolling hills stretch in every direction, broken by bizarre granite formations that look like they were carved by giants. Locals will point you toward Turtle Rock, a natural stone formation shaped exactly like a giant turtle crawling out of the earth. And the Aryapala Meditation Temple, a peaceful retreat perched high on a hillside. The climb is worth it, not just for the view, but for the quiet. Up here, the only sound is the wind threading through prayer flags. But Turelj is just the appetizer. Keep driving east and you reach Khenti Province, the birthplace of Temujin, the boy who became Genghis Khan. History isn't a museum here, it's woven into the landscape. Locals still tell stories of the young Khan riding these very hills, uniting clans that once hated each other and building an empire that would stretch across half the world. The Genghis Khan Statue Complex, a 40-meter-tall steel monument rising out of the steppe, feels surreal. Climb to the top and you're standing on the horse's head, gazing across a horizon that once shook beneath Mongol hooves. From here, the road bends west into Hustai National Park, one of Mongolia's most underrated wonders. It's one of the last places on Earth where you can see Taki, the wild Przewalski's horse, galloping free. They're short, muscular, and stubborn, much like the land itself, and scientists once thought they were extinct. Now, thanks to conservation efforts, they roam these hills again, as they have for thousands of years. If you're lucky, you might spot red deer, marmots, or even a golden eagle soaring above the grass. South of Hustai, the steppe slowly transforms. The green fades, the air gets drier, and eventually the grass gives way to something altogether different, a vast volcanic plateau. This is the Korgo-Turkine Sagan Nur National Park, a place that feels like the set of a sci-fi film. Korgo is an extinct volcano, its crater still blackened and raw, surrounded by fields of frozen lava. A short hike takes you to the rim, where the wind whips past and the view seems to stretch into eternity. Below the pristine waters of Turkine Saganur, the Great White Lake, mirror the sky so perfectly you can't tell where water ends and clouds begin. Families camp along the shore in traditional jers, cooking freshly caught fish over open fires as the sun dips behind the crater rim. But the real heart of Mongolia beats in the central provinces, and nowhere captures that better than the Orkhon Valley. Designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this is the cradle of Mongolian civilization. Here you'll find the ruins of Karakorum, the 13th century capital of the Mongol Empire, where merchants from Persia, China, and Europe once haggled over silk, spices, and silver. Today, the Erdene Zu Monastery, built from the stones of Karakorum's fallen walls, still stands. Its white stupas gleam against the grassland, and the low hum of monks chanting drifts through the air. It's a rare moment of continuity in a land defined by change. The Orkhon River snakes through the valley, its banks lined with wildflowers and grazing herds, and hidden deep within the landscape is one of Mongolia's most magical spots, the Orkhon waterfall. It's not massive, but its setting, a cascade of water plunging into a basalt canyon framed by endless steppe, is pure poetry. Climb down into the gorge, and you might meet local herders leading horses to drink, pausing to chat in a language that sounds like music to the wind. Head further west, and the terrain grows rougher, more dramatic. The Altai Mountains rise from the plains, blanketed in forests of larch and birch. This is yak country, cold, rugged, and remote. Tiny villages dot the valleys, their jairs huddled against the elements, smoke curling into the thin mountain air. The people here still follow the rhythms of a nomadic life. They move with the seasons, following their herds, carrying their homes with them. Guests are rare, and hospitality is sacred. If you're invited into a gur, you'll be offered arog, a fizzy, fermented mare's milk that's both an acquired taste and a rite of passage. Declining isn't an option. As the road winds higher, the mountains part to reveal another hidden treasure: Senker Hot Springs. Steam rises from pools tucked into pine forests, the water bubbling up from deep within the earth. After days on the road, soaking in those natural springs feels like pressing pause on time. Locals say the water heals body and soul. Whether or not that's true, it's hard to argue with the peace that settles over you as stars begin to prick the night sky. Our next chapter takes us into the Darkhad Valley, tucked deep in the northern taiga near the Russian border. It's remote, even by Mongolian standards, and getting here isn't easy. Roads twist through forested mountains and rivers that have no bridges, but when you finally arrive, it feels like stepping into a forgotten world. The valley is a vast basin of rivers, wetlands, and wildflowers, framed by larch and pine forests that seem to go on forever. Elk and wolves roam freely, and the nights here are so dark you can see the Milky Way arch across the sky like a glowing river. From here, the road south leads to one of Mongolia's crown jewels, Kovsgol Lake, known as the Blue Pearl. This massive alpine lake holds nearly 70% of Mongolia's fresh water and is so clear you can see stones glittering 30 meters below the surface. On calm days, it mirrors the surrounding mountains so perfectly, it's hard to tell where the water ends and the sky begins. In summer, you'll see locals and travelers alike kayaking across its glassy surface or galloping horses along the shoreline. In winter, the lake freezes solid and people drive across its ice, a frozen highway stretching for miles. Kovsgol is more than just a scenic detour. It's a spiritual place. Shamans believe the lake is alive, that it listens, remembers, and even responds. Rituals here often involve offerings of vodka poured into the water, prayers whispered into the wind. Whether or not you believe it, there's a stillness here that makes you think maybe they're right. We continue westward, trading alpine forest for open steppe once again. But the steppe here feels different, more rugged, more dramatic. This is Zavkhan province, a place few tourists ever see. It's a land of contrast, sand dunes and snow-capped peaks, desert and river, all colliding in one surreal landscape. At the heart of it lies Otgontenger, the highest peak in the Kongai Range, and a mountain revered as sacred. Locals believe powerful spirits live on its slopes, and every year pilgrims come to circle its base, offering milk and vodka to ensure safe passage. Climbing Otgontenger isn't for the faint of heart. It's treacherous and often deadly, but even from afar, its snow-white summit feels like a magnet for the soul. From here, we make our way into one of Mongolia's most cinematic regions, Bayan-Olgi, the country's far west and home to its Kazakh minority. The language changes, the food changes, even the script on shop signs changes. It's still Mongolia, but with a Central Asian heartbeat. And here, tradition soars, literally. For over 1,000 years, Kazakh hunters have partnered with golden eagles to hunt foxes and hares on the open steppe. Watching an eagle launch from a hunter's arm, wings slicing the air, is like watching time itself refuse to move on. If you're lucky enough to visit during the Golden Eagle Festival, you'll see this bond celebrated in spectacular fashion. Dressed in fur-lined dells and traditional hats, Hunters gallop across the mountains with their eagles perched on their arms, competing to see whose bird can spot and catch prey the fastest. It's part competition, part ceremony, and entirely mesmerizing. Bayan Ulgi also offers some of Mongolia's most jaw-dropping landscapes. The Altai Tavan Bog National Park, the Five Saints, is a realm of glaciers, jagged peaks, and alpine lakes. Trekking here means crossing icy rivers on horseback, stumbling upon ancient petroglyphs etched by Bronze Age nomads, and camping beneath skies so full of stars they don't look real. If there's a place on Earth where time slows to a crawl, it's here. Before the journey ends, there's one more hidden wonder worth the detour. Kar Nur, the Black Lake in Zavkhan. Surrounded by golden dunes on one side and forested mountains on the other, it's a rare place where desert and water meet. Locals say the contrast is a metaphor for Mongolia itself. A land where opposites don't clash, they coexist. Spend a night camping by the shore, and you'll understand why. The wind whispers across the water, camels wander past like they own the place, and the stars burn so bright they cast shadows. And that's the thing about Mongolia. It never tries to impress you. It doesn't need neon signs or fancy resorts or Instagrammable cafes. Its magic isn't loud. It's in the quiet moments. A horse's hooves drumming against the steppe, a bowl of salty tea shared with strangers, a horizon that refuses to end. It's in the stories written into the land itself, stories that are still unfolding every day. Travel here isn't about ticking off landmarks, it's about surrendering to the vastness, the unpredictability, the silence. It's about realizing that in a world obsessed with speed, Mongolia moves to a rhythm older than history. And if you let it, that rhythm starts to change you too. So when you leave, you won't just remember the places, the crystal waters of Kovskol, the singing winds of the Altai, the shadow of Otkontenger. You'll remember the feeling of being small beneath an endless sky, of stepping off the map and finding something deeper than directions. Because Mongolia isn't a destination, it's a reminder that the world is still wild, that adventure still exists, and that sometimes the best journeys aren't the ones that take you somewhere new. They're the ones that take you back to who you were always meant to be. And if that idea stirs something in you, that itch for wildness, that hunger for horizons, don't let it fade when this video ends. Hit subscribe, join the journey, and let's keep exploring the corners of the world where the maps run out and the stories begin. Because Mongolia is out there, vast, untamed, waiting, and the only thing missing from its story is you.